Hi everyone, my name is Lori, my nickname is Rini, and I'd like to welcome you to Rini Bovini Creations. If this is the first time you stop by to visit my channel, I'd like to offer you a very warm welcome. I do hope you like what you see. If you do, please consider subscribing, hit that thumbs up button, and share with your fellow crafters. All of those that are back to see me again, welcome back. It's all of you that gives me the opportunity to keep on going with all these things. So I have this really cool craft. Today we are going to do 2 for 1. So I've got these little globe terrariums from the dollar store, and we're going to make one a lighthouse and one with the dragonfly. So let me stop yakking at you and we'll get on with the crafting. So we're getting a twofer for today's project. So you're going to need 2 of these. We're going to do them in different styles. So I've got this. They were just at the Dollarama. I actually have a pack of these in my stash, but they're the perfect thing. But if you have anything about that size, maybe an old pill bottle, something like that, it would work too. But this fits right over, which is what I wanted to happen. And of course you'll need the little candle. Then I just went out into my yard and I found some little pebbles. So I gave them a wash, and while they're drying, we'll get on with the rest here. So then we are going to take our little bottle that fits over, and we're going to give it a coat of white paint. And you're going to need some red or blue or teal or black or whatever color suits you. But we're not going to paint all the way to the top. We're going to leave, I'm going to say like a ½ an inch at the top, maybe even a ¼ of an inch at the top. Oh, where's my right brush? So just about like that, if that makes sense. Now, if you want, you can tape it off and get your nice clean line. Being that it's not a big thing, I think I'm going to be okay with just doing it this way. So we've given it 1 coat. It's definitely going to need another, possibly 2 more. And actually, I'm going to go all the way down. Almost forgot that bit. All right, so we're going to let that dry. Now, while that's drying, the pebbles I pulled out of my driveway, we are going to put them on our candle and just using hot glue. But I think I'm going to give it a coat of black paint first, just in case anything peeks through. We don't want the white showing through. I'm just going to give it a coat of paint, just in case any of the rocks peek through. All right, so then while that's drying, we're going to do a lot of while that's drying in this project. We're going to go back to our little terrarium here. Let's get rid of the tag. Now this, if you have alcohol ink, that's what I would use. I am actually going to see, this is printer ink that doesn't work in any of my printers now. And I'm thinking it will work like alcohol ink. So we're going to give it a try. So I'm going to just, and if you're using alcohol ink, that's fine. You can paint it if that's what you have on hand. But I'm just going to, drip some in. Make a huge mess apparently. I'm thinking they'll stay because trying to get it off your hands is hard enough. And then I'm just going to roll it around until I cover the entire bottom. And some up the side. I'm kind of just going to let it sit in there for a bit. Now, if this is alcohol ink, you won't need to let it sit. It should just stain it right off the hop. But because I'm wanting to make sure that this actually stains the plastic terrarium. There. And then, without making a mess, ha ha ha, I'm going to pour the extra back in. So then we've got something that kind of looks like that. I am going to just clean up that edge where it's soaked out. And so we've got, and then it's something that's kind of like this. So now that our candle's all dry, and let me get that one out of the way. So now that our candle's all dry, we're gonna add our rocks. And just using a hot glue gun, there is no special way to do this. The only thing you're gonna wanna be careful of is that you don't get it too close to the flame so that we can't get our bottle back on. So we've got all the rocks on. I just put an empty one there just to make sure that I didn't go where I didn't want it to go. And then I've just, out of my stash, I've just got a few shells, and this is actually from a floral, but I thought it kind of looked barnacle-y, so I'm just gonna add a few little sea things. Okay, so there's our base. So now going back to our little jar, I'm just going to clean up my edges, and because it's on glass, just using my nail will be just fine. So now I'm going with the red, but you can do whatever color suits your decor. And we're making a lighthouse. So I'm just going to do some stripes around, and again, I am not going to use tape or anything because it's on glass. If I try and do that and then I go to peel it off, it'll probably peel off the paint too. Now if you're using a chalk paint or something that's good on glass, you can absolutely do that, but because I'm just using plain old acrylics, I'm just going to freehand it. So now we've got his stripes on. So now we're going to go in with a very fine brush in black. Now the other thing that you can do is, if you don't have a steady painting hand, or it's a little bit easier, you can certainly use permanent marker for this as well. And all I'm going to do is go around the top. And then I'm going to give it sort of railings. So I'm just going to go up. and then I'm going to do a bit on the top. I'm going to bring them in a bit. And then right in the middle, I will paint the black again. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to do like a door, but it's going to be a bit difficult because it's on the So there's our little lighthouse, and we will give him a minute to dry before I try and put him together here. So there's our little lighthouse on its rock. I do need to still wait for the ink to dry. Once it's dry, I will put it in and I will show you the final result, but I think it's quite cute. So for our next one, we again are going to need one of our tea lights. And you can get these, there were butterflies, bees, ladybugs, I think. Anyway, there's a bunch of these with these sort of see-through-ish wings. And I really like the dragonflies, so I'm going to work with that, but I don't want this stick on there. So I'm going to snip the stick off because I don't want it to be black. Well, that's the first part we're going to do. Oh, there, we've got our little dragonfly. But on this one, we're going to paint a flower. So for the center of the flower, we will have our light. And so to do that, I kind of want the light to shine through. I don't want them to be completely opaque. So I've got these color shifts, and they don't, I mean, you need an awful lot of coats for them to be solid, like not see-through. But if you don't have that, the other thing you can do, and this one actually came from Michael's, but you can find pearl glaze in Walmarts and stuff, and you can add those to one of your existing colors and just thin it out a bit, and that should give you that, you'll see what I mean when I'm done, but where the light can sort of shine through. But for the center, I don't want the light to shine through. I want it to be like the center of my flower. And I want it to be kind of be two colors. So I've got this metallic copper color. Oops, that was a bit much. And then our yellow. And this is going to be for the center, as I said. Oh. Okay, now my paint is mixed and ready. So all I'm going to do on thing is just dab it on. And I will be adding some of that copper before it's totally dry too. So they just sort of mix in together. And then we'll just set that aside to dry. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to paint the middle part with the yellow as well. And just kind of the similar thing, just a little bit of both. And being that it's plastic, you'll probably have to do a couple of coats, and we will seal it when we're all done. At least I will, because it's good for my house, it's going outside. And so, I mean, it's undercover, but it's still, I'm still going to seal it just to make sure. Now we are going to do another coat. but I want to do my petals first because I'm going to want to make some corrections, I'm sure. So to do our petals, now is when I want this color shift. Okay. Now I love this paint. This is the coolest paint. I've fallen totally in love with it, and it comes in so many beautiful colors. And depending on which way you look at it, it can look different colors, and it is just so cool. So I'm going to use a bit of both. So I'm going to take, you can see my paintbrush is kind of rounded. Oh, let's clean that off a bit better. On the top, it will make your life easier. If you don't have one, it's not like you can't do this. You just use what you've got, but you'll see what I mean. So I'm going on both sides. So one side I've got the yellow, the other side the purple. Then starting from my petal, I'm going to spread my brush out and just go up to form a petal. Now you can see it's very translucent, and I probably will go over it a few times, but I want it to be quite translucent. And I'm going to sort of alternate between the two so they kind of blend, but some of the petals are, so they sort of stand out, but so that you still have both sort of, if you can see that. I hope you can. It's probably pretty hard to see in the camera, but I'll show you once we get the two, or get a couple of coats on there. So you're starting to be able to see it, I think, fairly well. I'm going to go do one more coat for sure. Just going over top. And like I said, the brush strokes are just fine because they're going to make it look like the veins on the petals. And I'm just kind of going back and forth between them, but I'm not always cleaning my brush in between them. So they sort of blend into each other. So there it is. I know this picture's not going to do it justice. I really hope it does better when I have it all together. But there's our petals on there. And yeah, I really wish you could see it a little better because the purple and the green and the yellow, and they all sort of turn into each other, and they're really quite pretty. So now we need to take care of our little firefly guy. So to get our dragonfly, I've got this wire, it's like jewelry wire, and it's fairly thin and easily bendable, and I'm sure that I picked it up from the dollar store. So I'm going to wrap it around the body. Now you can also, you know, if you've got the bee or one of the ones that doesn't have this type of body, you can probably just glue it on there. Your other alternative is using some clear beading, like the fishing line kind, if that makes sense. You can always hang him from there, but I wanted to be able to play with him a little bit more. So I'm actually going to glue him right to the light. Just adding some hot glue. I'm just going to need to hold it till it dries. Then if we turn our light on, he should sort of glow in there. And I'm just going to tie this a bit better. Now we can place him in. So there he is, all done. You are not going to want to glue your candle in because you want to be able to turn it on and off. And of course change it out when it dies. I'm going to try and get a better picture because of the, it's not actual glass, it's plastic, but it's giving quite a glare, I see. And I'm trying to find a position where it's not doing that, but we're not doing very well. But it is actually very pretty. So I will do my best to get a picture that does it justice. And that'll be one of our little hanging lights.